Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the third and final episode of the Jjammk Podcast trilogy, where the K is silent.
My name is Madeline.
My name is Annie.
My name is Jasmine.
I'm Mackenzie.
I'm KJ.
And I'm Josh.
And today we are going to be discussing love in the movie Lion. So let's start off with, the film begins with Saru playing in a field with yellow butterflies. What do we think, or why do we think that they started the film off with this?
Because it could be a symbol of childhood joy. It could be because it represents a happy time before he was separated with his family.
Yeah, and I think butterflies, they represent change and freedom. And, he kind of starts off in a not so good situation. And then he's kind of going through all these changes and making it out even better than how he started off.
Yeah.
I think it's a great representation of how Saru changes so much through the film and how he goes through so much, but still returns to his roots with that kind of yellow being a color of, innocence and happiness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sorry. In the beginning, we technically don't see his living situations or anything like that as the first thing. They kind of started the movie off on I guess a semi-good note with him playing in the field with butterflies, and then his brother coming up and having that embrace with his brother and the love, and then they go and then you see his living situations and kind of oh wow, maybe he doesn't have the perfect life.
And honestly, I think that's a good shot because it kind of shows how, his love surrounds him and his family kind of trumps his living situation.
Mm-hmm. But I could also say that it could represent a fragile kind of love, and how how much love he has for his family before everything changed.
Mm-hmm. And I believe the opening scene always sets kind of the mood for the movie, and to me butterflies bring peace, and that was his world before he was lost. He was in peace, and so I just think that's what the butterflies meant.
And it's a very good shot that kind of introduces us to the wordless nature of the first half of the film.
Yeah, I agree, because there was no words spoken at all.
But it was impactful.
It was actually quite elegant, seeing all the butterflies fly around. I never experienced that as a kid. I thought that was quite cool. All right, so at what point of the film do we think depicts Saru showing the most Falatia for himself, and why?
I would say the moment Saru decides to finally confront his past and search for his real family, showing the strongest self-love, and he stops running from all his trauma and gives himself permission to find answers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the moment he told his adopted mother, it's you did nothing wrong, but I'm still gonna search for my family, and it's he's not hiding his emotions anymore. He's owning it to it and trying to not. He was always scared to put the trauma on his mother because of his adopted brother, and it's he finally opened up to it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I do like that. And I also want to bring up just the many scenes where it shows him just obsessing over this, because while it's not exactly a good use of self-love, it's still a lot of love he's showing to himself, but in doing so he's neglecting other parts of himself that kind of create this paradox of he is loving himself, but he's also harming himself.
Yeah.
Which involves mania.
Yeah, I agree. He kind of goes manic in that scenario. But I agree with what Jasmine said. I feel the moment that he decides to confront his past, that's when he really shows kind of love for himself. But at the same time, I agree with Josh, where he got a little bit too obsessed with it, and he drove everyone in his life away at that point, which kind of made me sad, because he had so much support from his mom and then Lucy at that time, and he just kept pushing Lucy especially away to the point where she was okay, I gotta love myself and step away.
This movie does a fantastic job of the characters loving themselves and also harming themselves in the way that they show love to others. There's so much love to other people that the characters harm themselves, and that makes a really unique like form of media that we've seen so far, because usually it's the characters love each other and it's good.
Yeah.
The love we see is typically good, but especially in terms of self-love and the characters being damaging to themselves in this movie is pretty unique.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I agree. So let's kind of like reflect on like our thoughts. So obviously this film is a very big emotional roller coaster. Kind of describe your emotions throughout the film, like angry, sad, empathetic, or even happy at times for Saru.
I think it was very emotional at the end when we found out that his mother died.
Mm-hmm.
Because it didn't tell us anything about him until the very end.
Yeah.
This is the first piece of media in this class that has like made me almost cry. Like I had to sit there in the back of the class going, I have a class after this, I can't. Because that text at the end was just so impactful, and specifically like hitting the title card at the end had me like in the heartstrings, because it was just such like it was a very bittersweet movie, like the entire time.
Yeah, and I feel like also knowing that it's like this was somebody's real life. Like at the beginning, I feel like I could kind of separate those things. So like it made me sad, but it's like, okay, like it's just a movie. But then at the end where like it showed the real Saru and like his real mother, like that definitely made me like so sad to know that like this was really somebody's life, and like he had to go through all of these things. And yeah, it was definitely an emotional roller coaster.
And to me, it really makes that like first half between Saru getting lost and getting adopted hit even harder, because you know that these moments are all like, they have to have been flashbacks that this guy is telling the filmmakers, this is what happened to me and this is all I remember of it. And it really contributes to that kind of dazed feeling in the first half of the movie, and it almost disoriented you, like, oh, we're doing this, now we're doing this. And it just kind of made it like a big shock, which I feel like this being a real story was just...
The ending to me was what really got me. I mean, obviously, throughout the entire film, I was like up and down the entire time. But the ending, because obviously a piece of me knew that something was going to happen when he went back to find his family. But finding out that his brother died, that really hurt, because that was who... I mean, obviously, he was looking forward to seeing his mom again. But Gudu was who he was really looking forward to seeing, because Gudu... I mean, like someone said in class the other day, was like a father figure to him and kind of like raised him. And he took him to that train station, and I guess Saru maybe, obviously they don't say this, but kind of felt bad for Gudu, because he could probably like be like, oh, Gudu probably feels terrible that he lost me and all this kind of stuff. And so to find out that Gudu was gone and they could never have that meeting again just made me...
Especially to find out that it happened on the night that he went missing, and... while Saru was calling for him and looking for him, he was probably passed away somewhere on the tracks, is just like heartbreaking.
And I feel like we can go through all of these emotions because like it really is like, it's a story, but it's not just a story. Like it really is a human experience. Like this movie is a big human experience. So it's just like you go through all these emotions.
Right, like it's not just for entertainment.
No, it's not. And that was like my thing about it, is the movie, I guess you could say it was kind of educational-ish, maybe, in a way, to kind of know, like, the hardships.
It's informative.
That some people go through, because, I mean, we don't really have third world problems. I mean, we live in America, we have mainly first world problems. And to see that a lot of people probably over there go through this is just completely heartbreaking. So...
While we're on, like, just the question, like, with our own emotions and how we feel personally, I think it's interesting that pretty much all of us connect with the first half of the movie where Saru is a kid, or at the very end where he is back to connecting with his childhood. And I feel like that almost says something about us, like with our age group, like we're kind of growing out of being kids and we want to go back to being kids and being childlike. And it makes it hit even harder.
Yeah.
And then knowing that our childhood experience is so different from his, it makes us even more emotional.
Yeah.
Which just makes this a fantastic movie for this curriculum.
It really does. It really does. So let's discuss the ways love languages are misused in the film to discourage Saru. The first one that comes to mind, obviously, right off the bat, is when he was picked up by that lady, and I forgot what town it was, and she was kind of showing that motherly love to him just to end up trying to sell him.
That scene made me sick.
Yeah.
Yes, it did.
Because I thought that she was like, I mean, they had me completely like out of it. Like, I thought that she was actually going to help him, and then when she brought that guy in, I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
She's not actually having good intentions behind this.
And the fact that Saru as a child knew this is...
Yeah. I mean, and it made me really happy when he kind of like put two together and ran away.
Yeah. It's kind of uplifting that he didn't get put into a situation that dire or like that harmful to him, that it was... It sounds awful to say, but he's like almost lucky that he was just living on the streets.
Yeah. I mean, if it had gone any other way, I mean, obviously he would have never gotten adopted and his life could have been completely different. Maybe his story would never have been told in any different scenario in that case.
Yeah, I think another way that I think gifts and acts of service were misused by Mantosh, his adopted brother, because when he was, going through his addiction, like, Saru was always there for him. He was offering to, like, pay his bills and stuff, which I feel like gave Mantosh the extra money to, like, continue his addiction and really just use Saru, which obviously is not a good way to show love for somebody that cares so deeply for you.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And with Mantosh, I feel like it also kind of... his adoptive parents are, like... with Saru, they're withholding types of love from him. In that way is kind of a misuse, like, because Mantosh has these outbursts, it's taking away quality time and, like, physical touch and whatever else from Saru, and it like has kind of discouraged him, because it's almost like he feels like his brother needs more attention than he does.
Yeah, I agree with that. Josh, what do you think about that?
I think it does, because it also affects the parents too, involving Mantosh, because his outburst really affects the mother more than the dad.
Yeah.
An imbalance of love is also a misuse of love.
Yeah.
For a parent to their child.
And thinking back, I mean, we didn't really see... I mean, obviously the dad loved Saru and Mantosh, but I mean, we don't really see much coming from the dad, except for when he went to Saru's house trying to tell him, like, hey, come on, you got to get it together. But that was pretty much all I guess you can say that was love from the dad that we saw.
Tough love.
Yeah, it's tough love, that's for sure.
Kind of telling him
But it is love.
Yeah, get it together.
It's words of affirmation, even if it doesn't quite seem like it.
Yeah.
He was showing he cared in his own way.
Yeah.
But, like, sometimes a father love is, like, harder than a mother's love, like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
So, moving on from that one, who do we think shows the most love to Saru? And who do we think Saru shows the most love to?
I would say Sue, like his adopted mother. I think she shows the most love to him, and like she's just consistently taking care of him, and she even like tells him that like she had the opportunity to have her own kids, but she was kind of selfless in that way, and she wanted to adopt a kid that was already born.
Yeah.
And she didn't want to add to the world when there was plenty of kids to take care of, specifically Saru.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that just shows a lot of love, like almost agape love, like universal, like she's trying to love a kid that didn't have that.
Mm-hmm.
And then like also proven, and you know, obviously the family, so the pragma and the sorge. So I feel like she just shows a lot of different love languages to Saru particularly, that we at least see in the movie.
I especially like the scene where he's like sending the voicemail out and like she's just in bed like super happy. Like we even get to see her love for him when she's not right next to him.
Yeah.
Like we still see her point of view outside of his.
Yeah.
And it's still full of love, which is really nice.
I feel like she shows unconditional love for him, even when he distances himself from her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like, maybe not as much, but I think Lucy shows a great deal of love to Saru. Maybe not in the aspect of like a family love, but I mean in a romantic love. I mean, no matter what Saru because they were together for 2 years during that time that Saru was looking for his family. I mean, she saw him every step of the way and stayed by him, and then eventually she had to love herself and step away from that scenario. But even when she stepped away, I mean, she still continued to show love for him, and then when he finally found them, she was like, I will wait for you. So I feel like that also is a really good example of how much these people supported Saru throughout this entire movie, because he was never alone, even when he distanced himself from everybody.
Like he always had like points of contact, which is very rare, and that makes this movie even more beautiful, I'd say, because you're never going to have a situation that plays out like this. I don't think people typically have such strong supports and multiple of them at the same time. And even when he was pushing away, people weren't chasing for him, but they weren't leaving either.
Yeah.
They were staying right there waiting for him to come back.
Which is something most people do. Like if somebody pushes somebody away, most people are like, all right, you don't want me.
Yeah.
I'm going to move on.
Right.
But that didn't happen in this movie.
Which is, it's almost like, it's like self-love between all of these characters loving themselves enough to know, and loving Saru enough to know that he still deep down wants and needs them, which is really nice to see characters be so human yet so full of love. It's kind of uplifting in a way.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and I would say, kind of going to the second part of that question, like who Saru shows the most love for, I feel like I would say it would be Guru, because even though, like, you know, he's not with him a majority of the movie, like, he consistently goes back to him and consistently, like, pushes to try to see him again. And I think he puts in a lot of effort for that relationship, even though he hasn't been able to experience it in decades, pretty much.
I would also say Gadu, even though that he's not there in the movie, he's such a driving force for Saru that there's something so tender about the way that he sees him, and he is even depicted in that final scene where he's a kid again with his brother. And it's so sweet and so heartbreaking at the same time.
Josh, who do you think Saru shows the most love?
I would agree with Gadu, because he's been trying to find him. I would say he's more than his mother, because he's been with his mother the whole time. He even works with him every day.
Yeah. I'd honestly kind of have to go off on a limb here and say that he has a lot of love for his adoptive family, like Sue especially, but also I think he has a lot of love for Mantosh, because while Mantosh wasn't really in the movie, I mean, they stated how much Saru protected and was there for Mantosh through all of it, and it was kind of tough love by saying, hey, you need to get it together, you're hurting Mom, and all this stuff. But I mean, Gadu, with helping him with rent and making sure that Mantosh was at family dinners, I feel like he showed a lot of love there in that aspect.
And that creates some really nice parallels between him and Gadu, as they're both brothers to Saru, but Mantosh doesn't have that, like, almost, I don't want to say authoritative, but more father-like presence, because they still have their adoptive father. But we don't see Saru's bio father mentioned at all.
No.
So we have to assume he's either missing or dead. And so while they're both brothers, they're still so incredibly different, which makes a very interesting, like, difference between the two as characters and people for Saru and how he sees them.
Yeah. Jasmine, you got any thoughts on any of this?
I would say Saru shows the most love to his biological family, because in the second half of the movie is driven by wanting to reconnect with them in general. So I'll say his whole journey is basically motivated by that deep attachment for them.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, going back to, it kind of drove him crazy, but I mean, he really did have that drive. And I mean, showing, like, there was a lot of flashbacks that they showed, which kind of shows, like, okay, he didn't just have a biological family. He loved his biological family to the point where he remembers, like, a lot of details about them. So I feel like I can agree with Gadu, and his biological family is really important to him.
Yeah.
So a main connection overlap with a lot of Saru's interactions is food. What scene involving food was the most impactful to you, showing how Saru is loved or how he loves?
I'm going to say it's the jalebis. It's the parallels with them. It's the very opening of the movie where he's saying, I want 100 of them. And it's the jalebi that sparks his drive to go back home. And to me, even though it's such a small moment contained with just him right there in the kitchen, it's so impactful to the entire movie that I don't think it can be topped.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it can either. I mean, it's like his memories, like he went on the beach and all to a bunch of different places to remember these special moments.
I really liked the scene where he said salt and pepper. I believe it was like one of the first meals that he had with his adoptive family. And I feel like
so cute.
Yeah, it was really cute, and I feel like it was a big breakthrough because, like, before he came, like, he didn't know any English. So being able to say salt and pepper, like, retaining to a meal, I feel like was a big breakthrough for him and was, like, super impactful to the movie.
I feel like that scene is also, like, a big, I don't know how to say it, but it was very important in the aspect of, I think he finally realized that he's safe again. After all that long journey, finally sitting down and eating a meal with his new adoptive family, he's like, okay, I'm safe. And he's laughing with them, saying, salt and pepper. And I think he's just very, like, he has that security. He's like, okay, nothing's going to happen to me. I'm home.
Yeah.
So
That scene really made me, like, be like, maybe everything's gonna be okay. Yeah, it was just so sweet and so cute.
Yeah. And it's like, you know, when he was at that party, he tasted that food, it's like the memories came back so instantly. And it's like his drive for that search to go back home was like, revealed so much love to me. And it's like,
I would say the scene where young Saru eats the spilled food on the train really hit me the hardest because it shows how desperate and alone he was at that time without anyone to care for him. And it really contrasts with later scenes where his adoptive family feeds him with love and stability. So food becomes a symbol of the difference between survival and being truly cared for.
yeah, I totally forgot about that scene. I kind of blocked the train out because that made me really sad, knowing that, like, he was getting taken farther and farther away. And I know this has nothing to do with food, but it really broke my heart whenever he couldn't pronounce his hometown's name. I mean, if he could just pronounce it, he could have gone home.
No, because, like, I mean, I'm just saying, he was saying Ganesh delay. Come on, guys.
Yeah.
You can
figure it
together.
Yes.
You can do it. And that just makes it so much more like
Frustrating.
frustrating because if just something little had been different, he could have gotten home. But we also then wouldn't have gotten this story, and maybe people wouldn't have been as informed.
Yes, that is true. That is true.
And I feel like when you're loved so deeply, you know, like something as simple like as a taste can remind you and like lead you back to where you belong. Like
Yeah.
even now, like if I do something like from my childhood, like, you know, it sparks so many memories. You're like, oh, I want to go back to
Yes.
Yeah.
What do you think is the biggest message from the film? Does it involve love? Why or why not? So, in my opinion, I think about this like comparing it to Romeo and Juliet. So, Romeo and Juliet was very romantic love driven. I feel like this movie, while there is romantic love, is very family driven love. And I feel like that might be the biggest, I guess, message of the film. Like, just having that family love, even though you may have been lost, taken, or something happened to your original home, being able to love again. I think that is what I'm trying to get at here. Being able to love again and feeling comfortable is probably the biggest message, in my opinion.
And I think that the movie overall just has a really strong message of like determination and perseverance, because really the entire movie, nobody gives up. There we see a lot of downs, a lot of ups, but a lot of downs. And these characters still keep moving. These people still kept moving forward, and I think that's a really good message for people to just keep going, and that like you can find love again.
Yeah.
Even though it might not necessarily be the same type of love.
Yeah.
That there's still things there for you, whether it's just loving the world even.
Yeah.
To me, I got like love and identity are like inseparable. It's like knowing who you are begins with like knowing who loved you, and like love was the force behind every decision Saru made, you know. So
I agree with that. That's why it kind of broke my heart when he was like, I'm not even Indian, because he is. I mean, that's who he is. Granted, he grew up in Australia, and so, yes, he has the accent, but deep down, I mean, he's 100% Indian. He was born there. He had some of his childhood there. I mean, I feel like I was kind of angry that, not angry, but I don't know. I didn't agree that his adoptive parents didn't show him a little bit of who he was before. And maybe they were just trying to get him to like leave that in the past and be able to accept where he is now and not dwell on it. But I feel like they should have like showed him, hey, this is where you're from. I mean, kind of giving him a little bit of sense of home, maybe even a little bit of security, being like, okay, this is who I am. Even though, yes, I'm here now, I know who I was, or I am, when I was a child, you know?
Yeah, the scene where he was just like, oh, I'm not Indian, I'm Australian, mate. It felt like he was putting himself down. Like he was just like, yeah, I'm not that. What do you mean? Like he was just suppressing it further and further, and in doing so, putting himself down into a worse state. And it was kind of sour almost. I was like, oh no.
I feel like that's what made him so crazy about finding his family, is because he had pushed his real self down so far that now that it was all coming back, it was like it was coming all back at once, and it was like, oh my gosh, like I have to find my family. I feel like if he had kind of accepted who he was from the very beginning, it wouldn't have caused so much obsession and mania when he finally chose to find his real family.
That's a great point. I like that.
All right, so last one. Do we think Mr. Deal should use this film in future semesters?
Yes.
I vote yes.
Yes, definitely.
I agree. I mean, it was just a great film overall, and
Like I mentioned, it was a great closing point.
yes.
It was really emotional. the fact that it's based on a true story is, I think that's unique for anything that we've seen, except for maybe some of the songs based on the songwriter's experience. And for this demographic, it's great how we really connect with the scenes of Saru as a child and feeling like kind of being in between being grown and going back to your childhood. And there's something kind of that parallels that in that movie that makes this fantastic.
Yeah. I feel like we saw a lot of romantic love throughout the semester, and then to finally close off with like a lot of family love really wrapped all of it up.
Yeah, I feel like you see, honestly, just about every single type of love language in this movie alone. And it is definitely more like Sorge heavy with the family love, but you see just about every aspect all in like a couple of hour period.
Yeah.
So I feel like it definitely was a good closing point and just a good movie in general.
It's a great choice. Please don't remove it.
I mean, it involves like more than the U.S. It involves different countries too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a very global movie. So.
And like it really is a human experience. Like this is what this class is.
It is like human experience.
Yeah.
Look at that. We've done it. We've done it.
Yes.
And that is episode 3, the finale of the Jjammk Podcast, where the K is silent. Congrats, everyone. We did it.
How long was that?